Hello, this will be a little quick video on focal point and emphasis. Where there's a thunderstorm happening on the right now, so it should be interesting sound effects today. We're going to think about section 1.8 on focal point and emphasis. So a focal point is a place in a composition where you're going to look first, and an artist will use a bunch of different methods to get your attention to that particular spot. So emphasis is when certain parts of a composition are accentuating concepts or themes or ideas that an artist wants to express. The first artwork we're going to look at is by Derek Bouts. It's the Coronation of the Virgin Mary. In the background you have, from left to right, Jesus, the Son, the dove represents the Holy Spirit, and then on the right is a representation of God in a red robe. In the absolute center of the composition sits Mary on her knees, her hands in prayer, and she's being crowned. And she literally is, like if you made an X across the canvas, the center of the composition. She's impossible to miss. In addition, there's a color contrast. She's got around the crown is a shape like an almond. It's called a mandorla, and it's the brightest blue in the whole piece, and she's wearing a blue robe. The Virgin Mary always wears a blue robe in art. This next image is a mythological scene. It's the fall of Icarus. Icarus and Daedalus. Daedalus is his father. He made wings of wax. He warned his son Icarus not to fly too close to the sun, and Icarus disobeyed him and fell to earth or into the sea. And in this image you can see him falling. Part of the reason that you're looking at him first is he's isolated from everyone else. He's much larger in scale, and he's colorful. His wings are colorful against that white background. This is a painting by a Baroque artist, the only female Baroque artist that I can think of, Artemisia Gentileschi. We'll talk about her in depth when we get to the art historical part of the class. Everybody is looking at the head that is being decapitated. So Judith is the woman in the yellow, and she holds the sword to his head. And you'll notice that everybody's arms, Holofernes' arms, Judith's arms, and the servant's arms are all headed in that central direction. That happens, that's called directional lines, and it creates focal points. Lines create focal points. An artwork does not have to have a focal point. In this example, this is an amazing pencil drawing. Imagine drawing the sea in pencil like this. In this image, there is no focal point, there is no emphasis, and that creates a sort of sense of calm. It's an all-over composition. In this image, it's part of a series dealing with John Brown, the leader of the slave rebellion. And Jacob Lawrence, is an artist from the Harlem Renaissance. In this image, he wants to de-emphasize particular characters and emphasize the equality of all the men in the picture. There's a balance created because there's a little bit of green sprinkled throughout, a little bit of that mustard yellow, but we don't look any particular place first. We have another image of the fall of Icarus here, and it uses the concept of subordination. So it's de-emphasizing the theme of the artwork. The focal point here is the man with the donkey. He's got a red shirt on. It's the only red in the painting. And he is in the foreground, and he is the largest person in the picture. In the background, we have a seascape with some lovely boats. And it's almost impossible to find Icarus. He is located in the lower left hand below the big boat there. You can see his little legs kicking in the sea. So this is subordination. This is an image, a Japanese print, and it has more than one focal point. I think you can readily identify the three focal points: the bridge going across the center, the moon in the background, and in the foreground, the little boatman. Last but not least, I want to look closely at this painting by Edouard Manet, A Bar at the Folies Bergère. This is an image right before Impressionism. The movement is realism. We are looking at the late 19th century. What's unusual here is the subject matter. Instead of a king or a queen or a mythological person or somebody from the Bible, we have a common barmaid. And she has her own personality. She doesn't look like she's particularly interested in serving you. But she is. She's dutifully serving you. And clearly she's the focal point of the painting. She's in the middle. We've got a contrast between her face and the darkness of her dress. She's at a bar, and behind her is a mirror. And reflected in the mirror, to the right-hand side, is a man in a top hat. And that is a portrait of Edouard Manet. We can also see in the upper left-hand corner the feet of an acrobat and a lot of the bar patrons shown throughout. But I think what's magical about this painting, aside from the personality of the sitter, is the little details in the foreground. He has all these beautiful still life setups of champagne and booze and that marvelous dish with those tangerines in it. There are different parts of the composition that are emphasized, but one clear focal point.